Jolly Lee. Not so jolly really, because at the moment she's just saying here that her husband passed on the 4th of November 2013, and since then she's been on a major roller coaster and through hell and back again, taking the kids along for the ride. And really, I just wonders if anyone can tell her just about anything really, for any insight, guidance, or whatever. It would mean the world to her. So I thought, okay, we'll try this one then. For this, we'll use the tarot here, the psychic tarot, and we'll just shuffle the cards. And as we do, I'll just ask for the truth on behalf of Jolly Lee concerning this this bit of upset that's going on at the moment. I suppose that's an understatement, really, isn't it? We ask for guidance and insight in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love, and non-violence. Blessed be to the truth always. And we just cut the psychic tarot there and just move the cards to the side. We'll deal out 3 cards for you there, Jolly, and see what we've got. The first card we deal is in the first position on the spread. The first card is the position of the recent past. This is a period of time between now, roughly, and this time next. Correction, this time last month. Got my knickers in a twist there. Between now and the last full moon, you could say, couldn't you? The next card is, of course, now, the present. So that's sort of like 3 days behind, 3 days ahead. That sort of this weekish sort of period. Whereas the next time period between now and the next full moon, it's full moon now, so one rotation of the Earth around, of the moon around the Earth, one orbit, as you could say, is called a moonth. So you could say that's between now and the next, within the next moonth. The immediate future. The recent past influence, present influence, and immediate future influence. So we'll kick off at the crowing of the cock at 3 o'clock. Poet don't know it. And we'll pull out the first card to see what's been going on just recently. I suppose in a way we're establishing the situation, aren't we? Really, just seeing what was going on over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so. What energy was vibrating there concerning this issue that you've been raising there. That's an interesting one, isn't it? The 5 of coins, obstacles and challenges. Notice that how there's a gap where you sort of walking. I don't know if you can just see that there, and there's a gap, and you can step over it, can't you? But the fear is, will I slip and fall down into the abyss? And of course, you've got to walk in a straight line, or else you'll fall off the other side as well, won't you? So there's that going on as well. You were on about a roller coaster and life being a roller coaster, I suppose, for the reasons you've given, and that just recently is. Yes, surrounded by the darkness there, but of course, all you have to do is step over and carry on. 5 is loss. 6, of course, is analysis, then the weakness of the 7, the challenge of the 8, and so on. But this is 5, so of course it's focusing on loss. Crowley calls the 5 of coins, or the 5 of discs, as Crowley calls it the Lord of Worry. In the Crow's Magic Tarot, it's to do with concerns and complexities that have recently taken place. Maybe, although, as you say, life's been a roller coaster since 4th of November 2013. The past 6 years, nevertheless, have been that, and taking the kids along with it and the ride, as you'd say. Nevertheless, over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, things have come to a head. Come to some sort of crescendo, where the challenge is, although the answer is simple, just to take a step over and then carry on walking, the fear of falling in the abyss is of course, no doubt it's affected you financially, of course. It's an earthly energy, isn't it? It's affected you financially. Which, of course, is a problem, isn't it? I want to move on to the next card to see what's happened in the wake of, as you would say. Maybe is it the effect? Is this, if this is the cause, is that what's happening now, the effect of it? Lots of challenges and lots of things, walking on stepping stones, gaps that you're afraid of falling into the abyss. In the sense of an obstacle or a challenge coming up, and you fear that everything will just collapse and go wrong if you try and attempt to even tackle it, I suppose you could say, couldn't you? Tackle it. Let's just see though what it is. We'll just pull out this next card here, and we'll just flip it nice and slowly there, not to disturb its energy, and we'll just reveal what this is all about here. Notice there we've got the 2 of Cups. The 2 of Cups, of course, cups as water, related to the element of water, often related to time, isn't it? Because it's supposed to flow like time, and of course the spirits of the West, where the sun sets, as well as it is related to the spirits of the West. A nexus in some way, spiritual union, this is more to do with. Although Crowley calls it the Lord of Love, nevertheless spiritual union, it's more of a spiritual kind of love that brings two people together, isn't it? And that, I suppose, is important, really, isn't it? Notice the green of the heart chakra. Of course, that's they're the feelings. Of course, aren't they? The emotions, the emotional attachment there. Partnership. I get a sense as though why am I sort of thinking this? I don't know why this is going through my mind. Like anything does these days, but I'm sort of getting a sort of feeling as though yes, we acknowledge it was your husband that passed, but you're having trouble either finding another partner because of, and why am I sort of getting this? I'm trying to spit it out here. getting this sort of sense as though you've met somebody but you just can't commit yourself because, well, you know, and or the thought has crossed your mind but you know you can't really do it. You've got to have a bit of self-control because of that spiritual union. Nevertheless, I'm getting this sort of thing from it. If you get what I mean, as if you're staring him in the face, although your husband there is in the spirit world, nevertheless, you're staring him in the face. You still have a partnership. You still have a nexus, a connection with him, and then the challenge is, of course, having that connection but not being there physically connected, and then a physical an opportunity, or I don't know, an opportunity, but a situation seems to have arisen where I'll just say opportunity because I don't know what other word to use, but the opportunity of a new relationship beginning, or a new a partnership or whatever, and you just can't commit yourself to it, but nevertheless there is a spiritual connection to it. It's as if you're fond of this person but you can't do it because you know, well, you know, I'm already spoken for, but the one who's spoken for you, of course, is in the spirit world. And the emotional roller coaster is the challenges, of course, the financial worry, the concerns recently, of course, from an earthly point of view. But there are other concerns as well, of being either a lone parent in that regard, or what, I don't know. I want to pull out the next card to see what the immediate future holds here. Just around the corner, if negative, of course, in a strange sort of ironic way, it can be positive, because forewarned is forearmed, doesn't it? But of course, beware of complacency if positive. Let's just flip it nice and slowly there, not to disturb its energy too much there, as we flip the card over. Here, notice number 14. It's a major arcana energy, this, isn't it? This tends to focus on patience, although it's temperance, isn't it? But patience in this particular deck focuses on patience, the virtue of patience, patience being a virtue. And because it's a major arcana card, that means that it's more permanent, more fixed, isn't it? Whereas you had power to change, or you had power to change the recent past to the challenges that were there, regardless of those challenges. Nevertheless, you regardless of the worry and the concerns, the complexities, regardless of that, you still had power to change it. And you have power to control what's happening now, in the sense of this a spiritual union that you've got with somebody but can't quite commit yourself. But of course then you will have to become more patient. Well, I'm sort of thinking of the word tolerance as well. And you will have no choice over that between now and this time next month, this sort of next month period, as you say, between this full moon and the next full moon, that sort of period there. You won't really have any control over it. You'll still be able to make decisions. You'll still be able to choose and decide how you deal with it. But patience is a virtue. Often temperance is seen where the angel holds two vessels and pours water from one vessel into another, and there's a river but just at the bottom there, as if it's grabbing with the time, with water, the element of water, with it flowing like time. It's like grabbing a moment in time in a cup and then pouring it backwards and forwards and analysing it. And one needs patience to do that. Crowley calls temperance, or in this case the patience, out of vibration there, Crowley refers to it as art. I suppose the first thing that comes to mind is getting it down to a fine art, as you would say, mastering it in some way, shape or form. But patience is needed, isn't it, when being creative or anything of that nature. And maybe that's really what the Spirit is trying to say here through this, these cards here, that patience is a virtue, and yes, it's been hard, it's been a roller coaster, and one has lost patience, and it's that losing of patience that creates the tension, or that has created the tension, then, as you would say. The fear of falling in the abyss has been the thing that has made you sort of reluctant to step over the gap over to the other side, although it may be a long fall into the abyss, maybe into eternity, but nevertheless you can step right over it. It's simple, but it's just the fear. But like with bees and wasps, the fear of being stung is more than the actuality that it's smaller than you and it can't really harm you, really. Even if it did sting you, it won't kill you. In a lot of cases it won't anyway. But it's this, the fear of the unknown as well, isn't it? But the partnership that's going on, I do sort of sense as though there's a partnership. It's either the partnership, the nexus you have with your children, or it's the nexus that you've got, the partnership that you've got with somebody else, but you can't quite commit yourself fully because of, and this, I feel, is the real reason why you've asked. It's one thing to have a life as a roller coaster and to argue and get all upset over it, which is natural, but of course when a new challenge comes, a new relationship or whatever, maybe you've been asked why you can't commit yourself, well, and you just can't come around and saying it, spitting it out. And of course patience is a virtue. Patience will be needed in the immediate future too. Maybe that's the key to it. The lack of patience has caused the problem, and now you need to curtail. I mean, obviously temperance is to curtail, to back off a bit on your approach. I suppose in a way that's easier said than done, isn't it? Really. Easier said than done, but of course it's a major arcana energy, so the most important part of the situation that you are in is about to happen. The worries and the challenges, the concerns, the complexities, they are in your recent past to maybe learn from. The partnership, the nexus there, the something new is there now. The connection, maybe even you have it maybe just be the connection. It could be the connection that you have with the departed. I don't know, but I do sort of sense it's a bit more earthly than that, and you just can't commit yourself to it because you're going to have to curtail and back off. Maybe back off the way, maybe your attitude not to be so snappy or something like that. I don't know, and it's time for a bit of patience. Just time just to, I don't know, sit back and relax, but just a time to just to allow yourself time to immerse yourself maybe in some sort of artistic expression or something. Write it down, maybe write a journal, or write your feelings down. You can always burn them if you don't want them. If you put it on the computer, you can always delete it if you don't want it. But it's just the act of writing it down helps you acknowledge what things are and what things aren't. And that really is the answer for the immediate future. That is the most important thing, and of course really it's the lack of patience, and you're just gonna have to chill out a bit. Basically, easier said than done, I know, given I suppose everybody's missing somebody else not being around anymore, or whatever. But is this the home truth, that shit happens and we have to just get on with it, and we can't take it out on others as you're doing now, or as you've been doing as well? And that may be the challenge as well. Maybe the fall into the best is that fact that you take it out on, you've been taking it out on others just recently, and all you've got to do is step over that gap and that hurdle, and just carry on from there, and don't let the bastards grind you down, or don't let the bastard grind you down. The bastard in this case being the thing that's getting at you the most. Spiritual love is more important, I suppose, than physical love. Although they're not there physically, they still love you spiritually. But nevertheless, why are you not prepared to love again? Maybe that's the reason why, because you're already in love, but they are on the other side. But nevertheless, you are still on this. Life is for the living, not the dead. And yes, you must, I suppose, back off a bit. You must curtail a bit. You must have a bit more patience, and analyse it. And yes, maybe the home truth is that, isn't it? That not so much pull yourself together or snap out of it and just accept it, you know. You don't have the right to bloody take it out on everybody else, but have a bit of patience with others, in sense that the children who get a bit worked up, or you lose patience with because they know the father isn't around, or whatever it is, and it's getting at everybody, and just to get at them is just throwing back the energy that they are throwing at you, and what you want to do is transpose it and heal it in some way, and just be patient with it, and just allow it to disperse of its own accord or something. That's the sort of thing I'm getting from this. Although there's the darkness there, nevertheless there is the light at the same time on the other side of it, and it's up to you to choose wisely, isn't it? Although what is about to happen is, of course, going to be a bit more permanent. You won't have much control over it, in the sense, not much power to change it, if any. You will be forced into being a bit more tolerant. You'll have no choice, because snapping at or getting at or nagging at or whatever it is that's doing this is just not working. And you can carry on doing that, but it'll be futile, because it won't get you nowhere. It's the spiritual love I suppose maybe right now that will allow you to be more tolerant, more literally more patient in that sense, and maybe the art form that you, as you learn to analyse a moment in time, ask yourself, why is this happening? What has brought me to this point in my life? What do I dislike about myself? And then what do I like about myself? And that's where the answer lies, isn't it? That's really where the answer is. So for that, not so jolly as we say, but nevertheless jolly for now. I suppose that maybe be of good cheer. Maybe it's time to be jolly and just, it's hard to just say accept it and move on, but as you I suppose as you analyse the situation, maybe 6 years has gone by and we're in the same or worse situation now. Why? Surely things can get better than this. Surely things could only get better. But how can they get better? What can I do about it? What am I not doing about it, and what can I do about it to change it? Because it can't carry on like this. And that's what I sort of get is yes, we know that's what it is, but I still sort of sense as though you just can't find it within yourself, within your heart, or whatever it is. You just can't find it within yourself to move on, maybe to love again, or what. But the spiritual love, the being fond of somebody. Yes, you are fond of somebody. We know that. You are fond of somebody, not just he who is not here physically, but you are fond of somebody else in the sense you are fond of somebody on the earth plane, but you just cannot commit yourself to it. But you must be more patient in that sense. Not so much just more patience with the kids in the sense of letting them let it go, or helping them let it go, or whatever, but more, I suppose, patience with yourself as well, and not beating yourself up over it, and not taking it out on yourself so much. It's easy to blame oneself, but it's not your fault. And I think really the frustration is more with you than with the kids or with anybody, and it gets at them because of it. So is it worth beating yourself up to have your kids watch what you beat yourself up over, and you get at them because you're getting at them, although you don't know you're getting at them, although you think you're getting at yourself. It's getting it back. It's sort of spilling out on them, isn't it? And if only I could commit myself to the person that I'm fond of, maybe would they listen? Would they have the patience to listen? I don't know. That's up to you to maybe that's the thing. Maybe the problem is you're having trouble opening up. Maybe. Maybe that's all it is. But whatever it is, patience is a virtue, is it not? And so is compassion. So with that, just for now, jolly, go well, stay well. These cards have spoken.